Today we will have a session to understand a little bit what is a Hummingbot API and also how we can use MCP to leverage our trading operations with natural language. Usually here in Hummingbot, run HFT strategies. The bot will load always the order book, and this is the official Hummingbot. Then we also have Hummingbot/gateway. Tip of the gateway helps you do this interaction with the blockchain. The thing is that if you want to run one of these strategies, you need to do the setup of the gateway, you need to install it, you need to connect the credentials and so. Then you will need to run Hummingbot on the same machine, and then you start and you run a strategy, okay? Requires a lot of human work, right? That's why we created Hummingbot API. These are the functionalities that this Hummingbot API provides us. Once you start the Hummingbot API, these are all the things that you can do to interact with everything related in the Hummingbot ecosystem. And recently, I added the Hummingbot MCP. Basically, lets you control the Hummingbot API, but with natural language. We are going to be able to connect accounts, get balances, execute trades, rebalance our portfolio, deploy a new bot. We can consider these two repos more like high-level repos and two more like low-level repos. So if you are more like a Hummingbot user, you are not a Hummingbot developer, you would probably play around much more with these two. If you are a developer, you would probably play around more with these two and also these two because it's very helpful. Right now there is an ongoing PR because there was a lot of people that are requesting the integration of Hummingbot API and gateway. The new things that we added is that in the Hummingbot API, you can check the status of the gateway. We can stop it, so you can see it's stopped. You can start it again and it will be running. If you change the gateway config, for example, you change the RPC node or you change token list, I think also, you need to restart the gateway. There is also a restart endpoint here. The restart is very fast compared to the stop one. We can also get the gateway logs. We'll let you diagnose what is happening. We can get the connectors available. This is more like config stuff, and then update it if you want. The same for the chains, for the pools, for the networks, and so. So this is basically a new addition in the Hummingbot API to start controlling the gateway container, and this automatically allows that when you deploy a strategy using the dashboard or Hummingbot API using MCP, you can also run now arbitrage strategies between DEXs and SEXs because now the gateway will be available. Another router that I added here is gateway trading that I'm currently working on this one. The only ones that are right now working are these two. We are currently focusing on this swap stuff right now. This MCP, the way that you should be using this is probably having like a folder called, like, for example, trading operations, where you initialize Claude. In this case, let's say that I'm going to use the MCP repo, documents, code, MCP. The first thing is that I have this configured. In my case, I have this in claude.json. I look for MCP. Here in the MCP servers, the command is Docker. We encourage all of you to use the Docker Hummingbot MCP. Why? Because first, you don't need to clone any repo. And secondly, all of you have Docker, so we make sure that you don't have environment problems. And third, this volume is very good to keep your servers kind of safe. But you can use it from source if you want. I don't recommend it, but whatever you want. Once you open Claude, if you do /MCP, what tools do we have? We have set up a connector, get all the available connectors, get the credentials. I just added this one that is configure API servers. That is in case that, for example, you have 3 different servers with Hummingbot API, you can label them and say this is server 1 with this IP address, this user and password. This is server 2 with this IP address, user and password. And this is server 3 with this IP address, user and password. Then you can get the portfolio balances, you can place an order, you can set up an account position model leverage, get orders, get positions, get prices, get candles, get funding rate, get order book, explore controllers, and you can also get the code of a controller. And this is kind of useful because you are passing the controller code specifically to an AI that can understand how the controller works, help you to understand it, and also help you creating a config for it. And also we have modify controllers in case that you want to modify one of them. You can also deploy a bot with controllers, and you can get the active bots, get the bot logs, manage the bot execution, manage gateway container. This is a new task for the gateway. So in total we have like 21 tools available here. Let's see how we can configure, for example, a remote server. We can say, what servers do I have running? You have the active bots running. What API servers? By default is in Docker host internal. Another thing that you can do with this is, what are my balances? Here says, okay, in Binance we have major holdings. Can you sell 100 USD of the BTC that I have in Binance for USDT? You see that now it says before the BTC was this amount, and now the BTC is this amount, the amount that we sold before and after. So for rebalancing the portfolio, works pretty well. Then we can also do it on the gateway side. This is another good thing. Now we can swap. Can you sell 1 USDC for USDT on my Solana account? If we go here, it just swapped this amount. And here it's also saying the swap is now processing on the Solana blockchain. Can you track it here? Gives us the SolScan link in case that you want to track it. Or we can say, can you poll for the transaction? You see transaction confirmed. So perfect, all the changes were okay. And the gas fees, all that stuff. The good thing is that also all of this is in the database. So if you go to gateway swaps, confirm the gas fees that we paid. If you are like used to have multiple accounts, this is extremely useful. The other option that you have is to enter manually on all the UIs that you have to enter in Binance UI, OKX UI, Solana, Phantom Wallet, doing a very streamlined process where you just chat with Claude or chat with Gemini CLI that is free also. Manage a bunch of the accounts that you have connected to execute the transactions that you need to execute. Another thing that you can do with this MCP, what are the controller configs available? The only thing that we have is only for this PMM and for Great Strike. I want to create a new config for Sol FDUSD. Allocate 1.5k. So the good thing is that like you don't need to go into the YAML. You don't need to go to the server to modify the YAML, all that stuff. You can just ask with natural language to do this. You already deployed the bot, so we can already see it live. It has 2 orders maximum at a time per side. And well, what is the best thing about this, if you are like a Hummingbot user from a long time, every time that you want to deploy a bot in production or in a server, there is this like process where you need to go to the configuration. Once you build your own presets for this, very easy to scale and very easy to deploy multiple bots later on. Can you get the bot status since it is not running? The AI should be able to diagnose what is happening based on the logs of the bot. The MCP also have access to the logs of the bot. You see, there is no budget to open the position. Can you get the balance and sell Sol at market to get the that we need? You see now appear the sell, and now the bot started because now has a balance again to run. So this is really powerful because you don't need to go to the logs and understand very well, because now the AI can do it for you mostly. The next thing that we can do, for example, here, what's the performance of the bot? So it will be able to check the performance and tell us like the performance of the bot. There are like multiple things that you can do with this MCP. You can also say, okay, now deploy a short grid, now deploy a long grid, or now run a PMM bot. All the different controllers that are available there, you can do them. And as I mentioned, you can also use it helper agent that will be able to buy and sell and rebalance your portfolio for you. So well, that's basically all. Thank you all very much, all of you, for joining.